Hello.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful rendition of Solution Sunday. I'm Lisa Warner. I am the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing and creator of Solution Sunday, because the soul is the solution. And I am here today with my very dear friend, Anna Gendler, who is an orchestra musician. She plays with the Tucson Symphony Orchestra and the Lake Placid Sinfonietta, which is why Anna and I are together in Lake Placid, New York this summer. So, Anna, welcome to Solution Sunday.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So Anna and I have had a lot of really great conversations about music and harmony. And as a teacher of self-healing, I teach harmony inside, harmony between the body, the mind, and the soul. Because when body, mind, and soul are in harmony, health happens. Well-being is the result. It's natural and normal. And Anna is a very tuned in to harmony. She plays in a symphony orchestra, and without harmony, it's a mess.
That's true.
So what can you talk about with harmony today? You play second violin in the orchestra, and that is all about harmony and how that harmony adds so much to the beauty of the symphony.
That's right. I was trained as a professional violinist, and ever since I was a child, we learned to play beautiful tunes. We learned to play a melody, the part that everyone remembers, the part that we can all hum, and the part that we recognize when we hear it. So I enjoyed very much playing the melody part, but it's not until later when you start interacting with other musicians and playing either with the accompaniment or in a chamber music group, that's when you start hearing all these other parts that are supporting your part. They're not in competition with your part. They are enhancing your melody part, and they're in complete balance. So the role of this other non-melody part, the harmony part, is very vital. It comes forth in a way that makes your melody part much more rich and satisfying.
That's beautiful. And when you're playing harmony, do you have to, you really obviously have to listen to the other parts so that you can kind of blend and support that melody?
Absolutely. Harmony part is a subordinate part. But it is a very important part, as I said. It's not something that would overpower the main part, the melody part. And sometimes it enhances the melody part in such a way that it can bring forth different color, different quality, that the melody part would change, influenced by that harmony part. Like this is a simple example of what is the melody part and what is the harmony part. So what I played right now was a very famous piece by Mozart called Eine kleine Nachtmusik, Little Night Music, and most people have heard it at least once in their lifetimes. So this is the melody part. Yeah, and so on. And the harmony part is doing this. Like when the melody part is going, the harmony part is going. And it can go dry and mechanical. It can just go. And then it would drag the melody part. It would take away all the excitement, all the liveliness, but it can also support it. It can move it along, it can enhance it and make it really stand out as a melody that is expansive, the melody that is beautiful, it has phrasing. So if instead of you go create waves, yeah, that changes the whole ballgame. And also it becomes more interesting for the performer. It becomes for the person who is executing the harmony part. It makes you realize that you are a very important part of the process, and it's up to you to kill it or to let it live. And so that's what we need to remember when we're doing the harmony part. And it's not an accident that it is called the harmony part, right? You can influence the whole product in such dramatic way that it may have a value or it may have zero value.
I love that. You know, the whole time you were talking about that, I was thinking about body, mind, and soul. The body is our instrument here in life. This is how we get to come and play on this planet. Without the body, we can't be here. So the body is our instrument. The soul is the tune. The soul is our melody. And the mind is the player. So if the mind is just doing what it's told to do and just looking at the notes and doing the notes that it's supposed to play, instead of supporting the melody, then we basically kill ourselves off eventually, because we're not playing in harmony with our soul's tune, the song of our soul. We came here to play that song of our soul, but so much of life tries to just drag that song away from us. And it wants to make the song of our soul like everybody else's song. But in the orchestra, if everybody played all the same notes, there would be no harmony, there would be no richness.
That's right. That's right. In the orchestra, it's even more obvious because it is such a rich texture. So each instrument or group of instruments is designed to have its own distinct line, which can be brought up or dimmed a bit by a conductor. And when conductor gets up on the podium, his job is to balance this all. We as individual players cannot take responsibility of judging what it is from the inside. It has to be balanced from the outside by someone whose expertise and whose job is to do exactly that. And as players, we all bring our own individual color. Each of us has a contribution. And even in the section where there are, I don't know, like 16 first violins in a big orchestra, each player has its own distinct color, its own distinct tone. But we have to align with each other. We have to balance. We have to breathe together to synchronize it all. And there is immense beauty in that. And it's the moments when there is exchange between the sections, when the melody goes from like, let's say, oboe or flute or French horns to the strings, to clarinets, to cellos. It all brings forth different qualities, different colors that makes the whole experience very rich and valuable.
It's amazing the power of music. And when that orchestra is playing all those beautiful, rich, melodic tones, the healing power of music. I know that when I was struggling with my health and I would go to that symphony in the summer, I would just sit and I would listen and I would allow those tones, those vibrations to work my non-physical body, my energy body, to help bring all of my own vibrations back into alignment. And it was so powerful that it would lift my spirit and I would just feel better every single time. Do you feel that when you play?
Absolutely. It has an incredible therapeutic effect. And I came to realize even more how it enriches my life when this past year I couldn't play in a group. I'm lucky I have a husband who is a pianist, and two of us could make music together. And in fact, we made a few recordings and we had some very interesting projects that we engaged in. But as far as playing with a big group of other musicians, I missed it very much. And when we started playing here in Lake Placid, after a year and a half of being silent, it almost brought tears to my eyes, how incredibly valuable this interaction is. We humans are not designed to be solitary creatures. And this enriching process has incredible power. And I don't know if you have ever experienced that, but I'm also a teacher and I teach kids. And when they get to a certain point, they start playing like in a youth group, in a quartet, or in a orchestra at school. And those advanced orchestras where the kids all strive to do their best and they have so much enthusiasm. And you go to their performance and it's not perfect, like they're not seasoned professionals, but they have so much energy, they have so much value in what they do, so much brightness and liveliness that you feel like the whole room is electrified. It's just really an incredible experience.
That's so beautiful. And there's so many lessons to be learned from that. To be able to work together with others in harmony toward an end product is such a valuable life lesson, that so many of us, where it's not modeled throughout society, when we see that, all the division and divisiveness, and instead of gathering people together to work toward one goal, if we were all able to gather together and work toward creating heaven on earth, it would be amazing here on this beautiful planet. Just like the background behind Anna with that gorgeous flower garden and the lake, and that's here in Lake Placid. That's what it looks like here.
That's right. Today is a little rainy day, so I decided to use this background to make it just a little bit brighter.
Absolutely. But when we get everybody working together toward a beautiful product, it's amazing what can happen. And just talking about it, the sun's starting to come out.
Absolutely. And projects like this do exist. Like, you can achieve so much through music. The language is universal, and the way people agree is natural. And there are projects like this, like there is a Middle Eastern orchestra that was designed exactly for this purpose, to get people to do a mutual product that would make people participate and agree and not insist on their specific point of view. It works. I wish there are more projects like that all throughout different spheres of life.
Absolutely. So that was what, in Palestine and Israel.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
I mean, music is the universal language, the music of the spheres. There is music in everything. We can't always hear the tones. We can't hear the sounds of the stars and the moons and the planets and with our human ears, but it doesn't mean the sound doesn't exist. So everything is made of sound because everything has a vibration. So just because we can't hear it, all the sounds with our ears, think of like a dog whistle, we can't hear that with our ears, but the dogs can. So there are so many sounds that we don't hear with our ears. So I love that that the sounds that we do hear with our ears, when we intentionally make sounds together, that it can definitely be the universal language and bring people together for a common cause. And then we see that we are so much more alike than we are different.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, you grew up in Russia, and so you learned to play in the Russian school. So what does that mean? And how is that different from American learning music?
Well, when I was growing up, the system was such that, first of all, it's free education. So each child can attend music lessons for nominal fee. And it's a very structured after-school program. There was no music in the schools. Not like here in public schools, we have part of, everyday curriculum. We have music program, and in some schools we have orchestras or ensembles. We didn't have that in Russia. But in these after-school programs, every child could get private lessons twice a week and be a part of orchestra, ensemble, choir, ear training, music history, music theory. And it just broadens your perspective of what music is. It's not just your little, what we call it here, song. It has much broader application. And later, they train you to be a soloist. So you learn all these complicated technical pieces, and there is a lot of like rigorous training for like technique training. And sometimes you forget that not always you get to be a soloist. So you don't get to play this melody parts all the time. But it wasn't, it wasn't very popular point of view that you become an orchestral musician. And truly, there are not enough jobs in the world for everyone to be a soloist. But when you cooperate with others and you become part of a bigger design, it is an incredibly satisfying role. And so I learned that later. I learned that when I came to the US, and I just needed a job. And so that's when I started really practicing and learning symphonic repertoire, and discovered that these composers that I used to study in the course of music history and music theory, this is what it is when you perform it. It's just you approach it from a different standpoint. Yes, theoretically how it's supposed to be, but you get to do it. You get to actively engage, and that changes a lot in your perspective of music and the world itself.
Beautiful. So many of us are really not taught how to engage in harmoniously in life. We're trying to struggle through life, and we're not really taught, that life is a symphony, and that we can work together with others. There's so much competition in the world that we're taught that we have to compete with each other, and we have to be the best, and we have to be the one that's shining. And just like you said, when I grew up figure skating, every once in a while, yeah, I was the soloist or I was out in front, but a lot of times in our group numbers, you have to have a group, and you present an entire scene when you're with a group. So there's so much value in that.
Absolutely. And that applies to every profession, every sphere of life. The world is very competitive. And yes, it's a force that stimulates progress, but you have to engage into some creative activity that allows you to not be in this crunch and just be human, just contribute to, in the way that you can, whether you do it by yourself or with the other people. But there is something in each and every one of us that needs this creative force to come forth. And, sometimes we don't even realize to what degree we need to express it until we can't express it. Like we have to be silent. And then at times it feels like it's going to burst. And that's what I felt when I couldn't play, when the world went silent. And so after this experience, I learned to value every moment that I'm on stage with other people.
That's beautiful. We're so, because the world, especially here in the US, is so competitive, we're trained to be outward focused and to look at where we fit into the world and how we can do more and get more and have more and be more successful in the world. But we're really never taught how to tune in to the song of our soul. And so many of us get lost in that world of competition and trying to figure out what it is we're supposed to do in the world instead of who we are to be in the world. And I love that, what you say about being able to express ourselves. We each came here with that song of our soul. And so many of us have never really been able to tap in and nurture the song of our soul. And, one of the things I love about you is that music, you have tapped into that song of your soul. Like you're doing what you truly came here to do, what you truly love to do. And when we're together, because you're so used to being in harmony, we just seem to flow together and have a wonderful time. And it's just, everything is so easy. And the world, if everybody in the world knew how to play in harmony with each other without that competition, and we're able to really truly tune into the song of our soul, there would be so much more well-being in the world. Because it's when we're not tuned into the song of our soul and we're not just living with depth and passion and purpose, that's where the dis-ease comes from. That's when body, mind, and soul are out of alignment, and illness happens because our soul is not being heard, it's not being nurtured. and we're not creating to, on purpose, and with harmony.
That's right. That's right. We cannot dominate. We have to find a way to contribute with ease and self-respect and respect of others. And only then mutual project becomes valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that dignity, honor, respect, the greater good, that's really not modeled for us in the greater society. What we see modeled for us is really the opposite, is being in control, dominating over, and it creates a very, very disharmonious society. Our world is in a lot of chaos right now because we're not being led. The conductors are not really leading with empathy and grace and dignity and respect. So what can you say about that? How the conductors, what the role of the conductor is in the symphony?
Well, in my art form, yes, we're all employees and we are subject to general direction of a conductor. And life can be really tough if this leadership is very restrictive and very controlling and harsh, and you really feel the energy from the person who is standing in front of you, and to the point that it's the baton itself doesn't make a sound, but it creates, it moves the energy, and what comes from the podium can be destructive. But since this is my environment, I try to always see a bigger picture, and no matter what is in front of me, I try to make music, to praise, to enhance the product. And this is my role, my individual role. I may choose to do this, or I may choose to shut down and just do mechanical work, but then it's draining to me. I just get bogged down and tired, and I disengage if I do that. And I choose not to take that route. There is always room for positive contribution, no matter what. People have created beautiful art in very oppressive circumstances, and the political system or other circumstances do not always directly influence. I mean, they do influence, but human spirit is capable of soaring above it, finding the way, because that's the most valuable creative source that we have, the spirit. And yes, we unfortunately are subjects to general direction, but each and every one of us, just like we have to find our creative energy, we have to find resources within ourselves to engage in the most harmonious way that we can.
Absolutely. And what is it that makes a conductor like a really great conductor?
Oh, it's a balance of qualities. They're all professionals, and they're taught their craft, just like we're taught how to play our instruments. But there is a personality that you cannot hide. So leadership is a very tricky thing. It's not so simple. And you have to be flexible, but you have to be strong. and you have to be clear, and you have to be you have to provide space to execute your plan. And in fact, I once was a part of a seminar that was done for high executives, where on the model of symphony orchestra conductor, high executives were suggested to look at their roles. And I found it amazingly to the point. It was so relevant, I didn't realize all my colleagues were like in total disbelief when they were part of this, how much, how relevant this model is. And so that's, you know, we have to deal it every day with it every day. Day in, day out, we have to find these resources regardless of what the conductor is doing, and the conductor's role is really difficult. That's why they get paid big bucks.
Beautiful. And so you've probably worked with a variety of conductors, some really good ones to really not so good ones.
Absolutely, they can be incredibly inspiring. And there is something that they carry within themselves that they get to pass through. They have to be able to express it through their gesture. And I've worked with some incredible musicians, like, you know, I had this one incident when I worked with Yo-Yo Ma, and he came up on stage in the middle of rehearsal, and we were just practicing a different piece. We were practicing a symphony because that was first on the program, and he was just about to come from the airport, was brought by our manager. And so all of a sudden we feel that the space has changed, and we, like, from the corner of your eye, you see that this humble man is just going up the steps, up the stairs to the stage, and the space is transformed. And I've observed that with different musicians, with the pianists, where before they even put their hands on the keys, you hear the music. And the same with conductors. They're just going up to the podium and the music has already started. So that's the role. This is the direction that I admire.
And do you think that comes from their total love for the music itself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It has that origin. It has nothing to do with their, you know, ego. It's way beyond that.
Yeah. So what would it be like if we could each tune into our own soul song, so that our music played out in front of us wherever we went, and we could simply tune into ourselves and transform the world? How amazing would that be?
Yeah, it would. We just have to have this space in which we operate and find our own resources.
Absolutely. And you know, so many of us are pushed around by the world, told what to do, when to do it. This is your deadline. This is what you have to do. Do it this way. Don't do it that way. And it's so hard for us to have the space to find our own soul's song.
Absolutely. I'm very fortunate that I'm a part of a bigger picture almost all the time. But if you have a solitary job and you're introverted person, it is really challenging. It is very challenging to see this connection with the world, and view yourself as part of bigger design. It is challenging.
Absolutely. But each and every one of us are a soul that we have everything that we need to overcome these challenges. And it's a matter of being able to tune in and really tap into our own song, the sound of our own soul. That's beautiful. We have Michelle that says, talking about you, I appreciate Anna's introspection. She does have a boss to follow to make the beautiful mutual harmony, but she can put it in perspective in order to create the larger vision. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And Christina has just hopped on saying good morning. Morning, Christina. Glad you could join us. Christina is our friend as well. So we were hoping that she could join us for our conversation this morning, but she's joining us in the chat. Beautiful. So what was growing up in Russia like for you?
Well, it was and is authoritarian country, and things had to be much more in line and unified, and you do this, you don't do that. Things are pretty strict. The style of education is pretty authoritarian, but along with that, there were amazing humans and specialists in their field that were incredibly kind and inspiring. So that, as I said, we express ourselves in whatever conditions we humans end up living. And Russian culture and Russian art, as you know, is very rich. And so it almost like fosters you to find resources and look for ways to express yourself.
Wow. So you had a very good guide to help you to tune into the music and find your soul's expression.
Well, I was very lucky because I grew up in Moscow in a big cultural center, and I was exposed to a lot of art and had wonderful education and had loving parents and inspiring teachers. But the environment was not all that rosy, So I had to find my own way to like do my swim and choose what works for me. And it wasn't always easy. Like a lot of liberation came when I came to United States, where I could express myself and not be judged and learn about the world through a different lens than when I was growing up. People didn't travel, I couldn't even go to, I don't know, the nearest country like Poland or Czechoslovakia. People had to stay in, basically. And I went to school where they taught English starting in second grade, but it had no application. Like, you would ask a child, why are you learning English? And no one would say, because I am hoping one day to go to England or to go to United States or to any other country where other people speak English so you could practice that and experience different culture. No, my answer to that was, so I could read some English literature. So that was the extent to which, you were exposed to certain aspects of culture like that. But when I did come to the United States and the whole environment was different, people smile and people are much more open. It's just gives your background a whole different basis.
I bet. And have you been back to Russia since you left?
I have, yes, I have been a few times, and I grew up there, so I understand the nuance of culture and language and interaction. And every time I go, I find it a really harsh environment. It's wonderful. It's very rich. It's inspiring in many ways, but it is harsh. I would I would prefer not to stay there too long.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful thing that you've gotten to come to the United States and find your place and find a place where you can express yourself and play as you love. And are there are there certain um are there certain things that you like to play more than others?
Well, I like all the I like a lot of things. Um, some types of music has to kind of you have to get accustomed to, because the language is so complex that it doesn't appeal to you right away. And I try to reserve from abstain from judging that I don't like something until it has a chance to sink, and being a part of big organization like orchestra, where the season is planned and you get to do different types of music. You don't really get to choose what is on the program. So that is balanced by, special department and the music director and marketing director and whatever. But you can find beautiful, satisfying pieces in every genre.
Beautiful. So you don't have a preferred genre that you like to play?
Well, I like playing classical and romantic repertoire because it's just such rich heritage, and I think it brings the best in this art form in the symphonic music. It brings the most opportunity for expression of color and emotion and lush sound. But there are other contemporary pieces that are very interesting and unusual, and it just helps you to have a different view of the world from like different side.
Beautiful. Is there anything that you would like to play this morning for us? I know.
Well, I would like to play something, but I need harmony, and I cannot do harmony by myself. So this is why our relationship with my husband is so enhanced by the fact that we can play music together, and we play a repertoire where each of us gets to do melody and harmony and interact and create a bigger picture. But by myself, with just 4 fingers and 4 strings, I it wouldn't do it justice. So I just wanted to demonstrate what different role of the part is in a bigger picture.
Beautiful. Well, you definitely did Mozart beauty this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, I lived in Vienna for a short period of time and got to know Mozart a little bit better when I was there, as hearing his music so much. It's still very, very relevant in Vienna. And, it always amazes me how this music has lasted for generations. and it is still just as fresh today as it was then. And we know that these are really timeless pieces, that these will last for thousands of years because there's such beauty and depth and harmony. There are things to learn, you know, every time I listen, I can hear different things and I can feel differently each time I listen to the same piece of music. It can pull out different emotions, different feelings. Do you feel that as well?
Absolutely. Classical music, and Mozart in particular, is very special. And as you said, it's very relevant, no matter when it's happening, what circumstances it is uplifting. It is an amazing achievement of human spirit. And every time you come in contact with that, as a listener or as a performer, it's always a profound experience.
Now, I know that there are, they talk about like Mozart for enhancing brain function, and, you know, do you know anything about those, the benefits of Mozart's music on our cognitive abilities?
Yes, absolutely. There is much research behind it. And there are some educational programs that I was a part of when I taught in public schools, a program called Opening Minds Through the Arts. I taught with the other three colleagues of mine as a string quartet. We came to kindergarten classes, and we did interactive presentations where we played music and we incorporated their curriculum based on, you know, into the music that we played. And it promoted language and math and all kinds of skills that it was done in the economically depressed neighborhoods. And some kids didn't even speak, they just didn't speak the language. They didn't speak any language for that matter. And they started to expand their vocabulary and understand the concept. And this program was funded in such a way that kids had to test. So at the end of semester and then at the end of the year, they had some tests which showed with a controlled group that these children had a much faster rate of development than in the controlled group that did not have this program in their schools. Even the schools that had much more exposure and kids came from a more like stable households. But it was a very satisfying program that I was a part of. And to this day, I'm amazed how much difference it made in the development and the quality of life of these children.
Yeah, music has so much power for healing and transformation. Do you see people using music for healing and transformation in your everyday world?
Well, there are many areas now where music is used, from, you know, simple examples as relaxation music and like even like massage cabinets to music therapy and different modalities of healing, to just enjoying classical music in the music hall. Yeah, like in a form of live experience. It's an incredibly valuable part of life. This year and a half that the world went silent, We were actually very fortunate with my husband to be invited to do presentations, sometimes in a recorded and streaming form. But as soon as it was safe in some communities, we went and we played for in retirement homes for people, and they wept, they cried their eyes out. They missed it so much. And some of them were regular concert goers, and some of them didn't didn't have that experience at all. But when we brought it to them, it was just incredibly bonding experience. And we started going every month. They invited us and sponsored us, and that also like um, stimulated me to learn more pieces in times when I wasn't playing in the orchestra and not making much sound at all. Yeah, I started learning new pieces and bringing it to this audience, and then more organizations have asked for similar programs. And so totally unexpectedly, we found an outlet for what we do in the way that we could execute it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And to bring it into the nursing homes is, I'm sure, such a rewarding event, because these people, they don't have much going on for themselves during the day. And, to have that the relief of that sound, the healing, and to be able to just immerse yourself in that sound is so amazing. I know that it really added to my own personal healing when I would immerse myself in that sound and just allow the vibrations to bring my energy body back into alignment. Most of us are never taught about our energy bodies, and we think that our physical body is it. It's not it. There
Oh,
is so much more to who we are. We have a mental body, an emotional body, our causal bodies. So our mind and our soul are housed around the physical body, in the energy field around the physical body. And just like the earth has an electromagnetic field, we each have our own electromagnetic field. And that electromagnetic field is filled with vibrations. It's filled with, the airwaves are filled with sounds. Even just think about radio stations that are transmitting. Those frequencies are going through the electromagnetic field, and then they get picked up by our little radio. And then that's how we hear that. But those vibrations, those sounds, even though we don't hear the radio stations that are without the radio, we're still picking up all those frequencies. So when our own electromagnetic field is filled with all kinds of clashing frequencies, we end up with all kinds of clashing thoughts in our mind at the same time, thoughts of fear and doubt and worry and stress and guilt and shame and blame. And all of those are frequencies. So when we can sit and we can start to listen to this beautiful, harmonious music and allow all of our frequencies to harmonize, it does miraculous things for our health, for our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health. It's extremely profound. And we have Michelle asking, does Anna have a place where we can listen to her music? I would love to have it playing in the background in my home.
oh, thank you. I will share with Lisa a few recordings that we made in the last year, but our concerts with like Placid Sinfonietta, they are streamed on Sundays at 7:30
p.m.
Eastern
Eastern.
time. Yeah, so that can that can also be tuned into. We have three more Sundays. Two more Sundays. So this Sunday and then the 15th, right? Or 14th. And also on Wednesdays, we're playing a more popular program, and it is in a different setting. Sometimes it's outdoors, sometimes it is in a pavilion, and it's about an hour long, both days, Sunday and Wednesday. And please, yeah, feel free to join in and listen.
Yes, I will put the links in the chat. So the Wednesday evening concerts are free. They're the Pops concerts out in the park, and you can stream those for free. And the Sunday night concerts, we've got one tonight, one next Sunday, and then the 15th, August 15th, 2021, I think is the last one of this summer series. And those you can stream for $10 online, which is an amazing price. So I will put those in the chat as well, so that anybody who wants to can join in on those. And we'll put the links to Anna and Sasha's concerts so that you can hear Anna and Sasha playing together. That would be beautiful. And then I assume, does the Tucson Symphony, when that's in season, do they stream live as well?
We haven't done anything yet, but we hope that this coming season, we will also have this model as well.
Ah, great. You'll have to keep us informed, and then I can share I'll share the link with the group as well, because anything that we can do to bring ourselves back into harmony, anything that we can do to soothe the soul and start to tune in to our soul's song, and to start to harmonize all of the discordant frequencies that get built up in our energy fields. You know, because we're not used to thinking in terms of energy and frequency, we're not used to tuning into the things that we can't see with our eyes. The dis-ease in our physical bodies always starts in the non-physical. So whatever is going on in our energy field is directly impacting our physical bodies. So because there are so many messages that get transmitted out into humanity, though we, unbeknownst, are picking up all of those messages, you know, whether we're conscious of them or not. And you know, it's really important to be able to clear and harmonize our own personal energy field. And one of the quickest, easiest, and most powerful ways is through music. And you know, Mozart, Beethoven, Haydn, Prokofiev, Tchaikovsky, all of these amazing artists, composers, who have written this music that has lasted for centuries. This is some of the most harmonious and powerfully transformative music on the planet, in my humble opinion. What do you think about that, Anna?
Absolutely. There are so many different languages that this amazing, talented composers were able to operate in, and each one is unique, and each one is beautiful, and it's just so enriching to have this different language, and after a while you start recognizing by just listening which composer it could be.
Beautiful. So we thank everyone for joining us this morning, whether you're listening live in our Facebook, in our Soul Sourced Healing Facebook group, or whether you are listening to the recording on Facebook or YouTube, or our Connecting You to You podcast, which is coming up soon. All of these will be recorded and sent out on our podcast. So we're excited about that offer coming up soon. And Anna, we're so happy to have you join us this morning. Thank you for such a great conversation. Thank you for the music, and thank you for all of your insights. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us this morning?
I just wanted to say that I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of this conversation. And it's always such a special time for me to come to beautiful Lake Placid, hang out with Lisa, and just absorb all the beauty that that is all around us.
Thank you. It's my favorite time of year when the musicians are in town and I can spend time with Anna. We only get to see each other once a year, and we missed it last year, so we're making up for lost time.
That's right.
Beautiful. So we will, in the show notes, we will get the links so that you can listen to some of Anna's beautiful music with her husband, Sasha, Alexander Tenser. And please make use of that so you can hear some beautiful music and allow the harmonious tones to start tuning your frequency and harmonizing your body, mind, and soul. So thank you all so much for joining us. I am Lisa Warner. I'm the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing. You can find me at connectingyoutoyou.com. That's spelled out in full. And you can also find me on Facebook in my Soul Sourced Healing Facebook group. So thank you all for joining. And until next week, thank you so much, Anna. It's been a joy having you here this morning.
Thank you.
Until next week, everyone, create for yourselves a beautiful, harmonious week. Bye for now.